Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Market Check brought to you by BB. There is no second best live YouTube stream to talk about markets almost daily, but not quite. Welcome back, guys. I'm Snorlax. You also know me as Tommy. I'm joined by Chef Jackus and, of course, Max. We're going to have a great show for you guys today, just talking about the market. Obviously, there's quite a lot of green today. I'm sure we're all asking the question, is this a fake out? Is this pump going to be sustainable? Are we setting the stage for Q4? Hopefully we can answer all of these questions on today's show. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in today. Hope we've had a great week thus far. I mean, it's kind of been, I feel like the market hasn't picked a direction yet this week. You know, we've kind of seen a few fake outs like within these little ranges and this chop that we've been trading in. Just kind of waiting for more impulsive moves here across the board. But before we can get too deep into the conversation, before we can, posture about what we think about Q4, obviously the rest of September, maybe even some talk about seasonality, who knows? I'm going to ask if you guys can smash that like button for us real quick. As we always say, you help us keep the lights on here at BB when you do that. We're very appreciative when you guys hit the like button. And, you know, if you enjoy the content, just go ahead and smash the like button right now. It's super, super easy. And yeah, you don't have to look at soybeans on the show when you do that. So we would be very appreciative, obviously, like I said. But let's get into, the markets in a more granular fashion. I mean, Bitcoin and Ethereum are both up 2%. I think we're seeing, I would say, more outsized strength from some stocks. Oracle in particular, Nvidia is up 4.5%. I think the risk appetite for the market, at least in equities, remains. We've just kind of had this question about crypto. You know, are we going to continue this summer? I mean, I don't even know what you would call it, right? This chop and bleed that we've had on Bitcoin really for, oh my God, since basically the beginning of July. Bitcoin has been chopping downwards from like 123K. So, you know, what is the next move from Bitcoin? Are we potentially, is this a fake out? Are we cooking up maybe a swipe below the monthly lows right now towards 106K before we end up going higher? Is this finally the breakout? Like I said, things that we definitely want to discuss on today's show. Ethereum is kind of even more frustrating, I would say, over like the last few weeks. It's been trading in an incredibly tight range, right? I mean, it looks like a 200-point range for really the last 2 or 3 weeks, which is kind of crazy that we're seeing so much compression in that market. I guess it makes sense given the amount of volume and volatility that ETH had coming into the high. But we're all kind of looking for ETH to decide what's your next move here. Are you going to be swiping those lows? Are you going to be breaking out? We have a lot of macroeconomic data coming out throughout this week. So, now we will have charts. We will have charts today. Don't worry. This is just part of the intro. You have to watch me speak with with two cartoon profile pictures. But regardless, ETH has been trading in this compression. It looks like it's breaking out. Is this the move, or are we going to see it maybe in the back half of September? I still think that is a topic up for discussion. But obviously, we'd like to see things break out. And we have seen risk appetites rekindled on, I would say, a lot of alts. This is something that we highlighted on Monday's show. We're seeing that risk appetite for Doge, which, is basically the Bitcoin of memes. So as Doge goes higher, would look for other meme coins to do the same. We're also seeing the market leader in Hyperliquid show that outsized strength as well, as it kind of continues to just push into price discovery. And, I'll be honest, I don't know how much of a pullback I'm really expecting on Hyperliquid at this point, maybe from higher, but right now, I mean, it looks strong. Again, it's in price discovery. I just in general don't want to short an asset in price discovery, right? But I want to say that what we've been seeing is kind of what's the word? Kind of like a preview for what we should see in Q4. I am a respecter of seasonality, by the way. I don't think that it is, a lot of people want to point to the fact that we didn't have a sell in May and walk away as the reason that seasonality doesn't exist. Obviously, Q1 wasn't bullish, but summer was really kind of right up in line with what we usually see with this low volume, Volatility gets suppressed, the alpha lags behind, and meanwhile we see small caps and ETH really start to run, which is exactly what we saw over the summer. I don't know if September seasonality is going to play out more meaningfully. What I do think is going to happen is Q4 seasonality will likely be very strong once again. So we'll see what we get, guys. That's enough for my intro, though. That's enough yap. I want to hear from the rest of the panel. But how are we doing, guys? What are we seeing in the markets?
Seeing Golem celebrating little green. But yeah, good morning, guys, or afternoon, or evening, wherever you're joining from. Nice move. Anyways, bears are still convinced that cycle top is in. To me, personally, as I play and view both sides, I don't really think this move matters much. I still think that the market is waiting for kind of the September seasonality to go off, for CPI tomorrow, and for FOMC and Powell speaking next week. Then I'm thinking, like, when all of those events are done, right? Kind of the market ran out of bearish narratives, in my opinion, and so kind of think, why not restart seasonality going into Q4? Because Q4s are historically very bullish. But cycle top in anyway.
What did I walk into?
Just a regular, one more sweep higher and then bear market type of discussion.
Oh, okay. All right. Just making sure.
Yeah.
All right. Let me tweet this out quick. I think I just got it on my account. Hang on. Join me on YouTube. All right. Well, are we bullish or bearish, guys?
I have a meme for it, surprisingly.
Oh, wow.
You'll like this one.
I think I might know what you're going to post.
I need to upload it. It's not yet there. All right. Right there. You ask if we are bullish or bearish, Monks.
That's the meme for one more sweep of the lows right there.
Or one more sweep of the highs.
Yeah.
It can be both.
Could be.
But guess what, guys? Guess what? Mr. Crab is laughing again. They are so cute when they fight. Snip, snap.
I look at the ETH structure.
What do you see?
What's that?
What do you see?
I don't know what I see, man. I see a crab.
Does it start with a word on S, or on a letter S, or C?
C.
See? So crime. The other was on S, that was scam. I was like, which one are you gonna pick?
It's interchangeable. It could have been either one. But I look at this chart and I don't know. I mean, it's hard to get a good read on this local structure here for ETH. I very much so see, like, I see how obvious this is, like this huge void that's right here, like this huge absence of volume. And then I see a deviation of the range high, which lines up with your previous all-time high. And I'm like, it'd be so convenient to just like shoot it down here, like, oh man, it's over. But just a symmetrical deviation, and then they launch it, right? But I will say this. If we are really bullish, you're not going to get that perfect pullback. And that's possible too. My point is I think it'd be stupid to puke your bags here in case this happens. I think if this happens, you just stomach that You just take it like a man, you know? You just eat that drawdown. Because I don't think you're getting lower than that.
Me neither. I still think this is the likeliest outcome. Might seem like it's crowded because we discuss it, for example, but in reality, bears or sideliners want like 3,400 or even lower as a pullback, while bulls just want the price to continue immediately up. And I feel like the balance between is truly that drop to like 4K. And I suppose
you're in favor of a drop to 4K.
Yeah, I think it's still the likeliest outcome. Don't see much reason to think otherwise as of now. But yeah, or no buts.
Yeah. I mean, it's possible. Like I see the route, you know.
ETH to me looks a lot like Hood did, to be honest with you, before it gapped up.
So like the kind of flat line to meat stick pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can
guess
see it.
Hood did give a sweep.
One more sweep of the low, he says. I knew you weren't gonna. Oh, I knew it. I knew it was coming. I could feel it.
I mean, I would say, I mean, I think there is liquidity to be taken on Bitcoin and Ethereum. I don't think we have to take it. Just looking across the board at other altcoins, I think a lot of their structures don't really signal that we are going to get a pullback, but maybe we do. I am in agreement, though. You kind of just have to stomach it because I really don't think you should miss the forest through the trees, which is that the market is definitely wanting to go higher into Q4. Just a matter of timing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the main message I think people should view, apart from that cycle top is in, of course.
That urge to call the cycle top every single day. We have succumbed to it, guys.
Masculine urge.
The volatility is at historical lows right now, by the way.
I mean, we are seeing some I will say, like, we are seeing some lower time frame momentum here on ETH, at least. Like, your lower time frames obviously perking up, having a nice day. But I don't know. Things could just turn around from here, honestly. I just don't know. Like, it's like something needs to happen. Either we just start ripping out of here and like this thing probably goes like 6K, or we get that one final flush. But I don't know. I here. Tell me what you guys think about this. The longer we stay here without breaking down, the more bullish it becomes. Or do you not agree?
My view is that the market right now, because nobody really wants to sell ETH as much right now, and so the market is really creating liquidity going sideways for so long, then you're likely to get this like a very, like, because after all this range, if you're going to break down, it's going to look really ugly, like, oh, that's a distribution and a breakdown of the range, but you're not really going to go far much. And this breakdown after all this liquidity creation would create at least some liquidity of sellers. In my opinion, that's why it's taking so long right now, because if you just went quickly down there, it wouldn't create as much of it. So, but I don't think you're like getting 3,400 or anything below it.
I could see a raid. I mean, at this point, I don't really know that I'm expecting like a super aggressive raid on ETH. I could see like maybe 4K, but I'm gonna reiterate. I think ETH structure looks a whole lot like Robinhood did last week, and now Robinhood is gapping to new highs. So I do think that it's probably more inevitable than a question that ETH is going to do the same. It's just, do you think that ETH is going to sweep all of those lows that it's built up over the last few weeks? And, I could see it kind of going either way. I think just looking at some of these charts across the board, like a Pepe, for example, I think Pepe is, in a position where we should begin to see it start to curl up. Could that involve maybe, you know, one more lower time frame sweep? I guess, but I think it makes sense looking at the momentum of meme coins that the market wants to risk on. Nvidia wants to risk on. The market has a huge demand for these AI assets still. I don't know. I mean, again, I don't want to lose sight of the forest through the trees, but yeah, I could see another raid of maybe like 4K. I know we have CPI tomorrow, which is obviously which is obviously going to dictate how we trade into the end of the week. But do we have any expectations for what CPI is going to bring? Because the labor market data that we've been getting recently is really bad. You know, and I don't think there's any sugarcoating it. They need to cut rates, in my opinion, more aggressively than consensus.
I don't think so. I don't think that 50 basis point cut is good for the market. I think 25 gradual, well communicated over the next year is the best thing that can happen. Yeah.
I don't think they have the time for that. I'll be honest. Because you know, some of the data that we've gotten over the last few days has kind of forced me to reevaluate some of my priors. You know, I've been big into the camp that this is going to be a very long cycle. And a lot of that has been based on, okay, well, the economy has not only, or the market hasn't only been strong, but also the economy. And so the idea that they can kind of grow together as we cut rates has kind of been my prior. We're going to see inflation really really make a resurgence. But what we've seen over the last week and a half is not just like bad labor data, but a complete deterioration of the labor market. And you can attribute that to bad data, politics, who knows? It doesn't matter. But the data we're getting is really, really bad. And I think the longer they leave rates this high, the worse that is going to snowball. I actually think they're going to way overcorrect with rates and cut them much faster than people might expect.
So you're thinking we get a 50 in like a week?
I don't know if we get 50 in a week, but I do think like over the next few meetings, we're going to get a lot of rate cuts. I really do, because the labor market is broken. I mean, the data is genuinely so bad. I just don't see how. I don't think they're going to prioritize the inflation mandate over the labor market at this point.
So are you thinking that they kind of ease into a few more 25s and then ramp a bunch of 50s next year, and they cut way more than people thought?
I am not sure the answer to that question, but I do think they're going to cut much faster than people might be anticipating.
This year or next year, though?
I'm probably both, to be honest, probably both.
And is this going to be perceived, in your scenario, is this going to be perceived as, oh shit, we're screwed, we're cutting out of fear, and the markets are going to sell off? Or you're thinking we're going to see a blow off into then a disaster maybe next year?
I'm actually entertaining more of the latter scenario now. The the usual 4-year cycle timing, maybe, give or take a few extra months on top. I feel like I kind of have to, because my priors for really the last year and a half were that the labor market is not weak. It's actually very, very strong. And I've seen a complete erosion of that narrative over the last few weeks. So I don't really see any other solution but to cut rates very aggressively, because you can't keep them this elevated. Clearly, the labor market is, I mean, I don't know if you want to use the word broken yet, but it basically is. It basically is. The job data was so bad. The revisions were so bad. The job market data that we're getting is a complete fugazi, and we knew that, but to see the numbers, it's not good, in my opinion, on a long-term time horizon. We probably are going to have to reckon with that at some point. But I think in the short term, the market is still strong enough, that AI narrative is still strong enough, that it's not, I don't think it's going to be a bearish catalyst for the markets yet. And the cutting rates will be really bullish for small caps. A lot of these small cap charts to me look like they just want to keep ripping, especially meme coins. A Doge is, I have a hot take. Maybe it's not a hot take. I think the Doge ETF inflows are going to be better than the Solana ETF inflows. I think the demand will be there for it.
I don't laugh because I think you're wrong. I laugh because I totally agree. It's just kind of a funny thing to think about.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really think about Doge, it's first of all, it's like the only meme coin that has its own chain, you know, at least that I know of. Maybe there's some other ones, but it's a really like fundamentally sound coin, right? It's just ultra high beta Bitcoin is what it is. That hasn't quite pumped yet. And it trades very cyclically, has more chart history than Ethereum. It's actually not a terrible like treasury reserve asset if you really think about it, you know. You have to obviously play it more for like the late stage, you know, euphoric pumps, but since inception it's outperformed everything, including Bitcoin. And it's a proof of work network, slightly higher inflation rate, no supply cap, but again, like 3% annualized inflation rate, not bad.
One could even think that it's better than the Bitcoin model.
Well, it's faster and cheaper if they care about transacting with it, you know.
It is
because
inflationary, though.
guys,
It's
what do you
only
think?
3% inflationary.
What
And
do you
Bitcoin,
think?
while we're still mining, has an inflation rate. So it's not like there's no inflation rate on Bitcoin.
What do you guys think of the no inflation rate of Bitcoin? Well, it still has an inflation, right? But it's diminishing and essentially will be zero versus a 3% or 2%. It doesn't matter what the number would be, but like a coded inflation rate that cannot be changed, right? Because I tend to think that the 2% inflation rate that central banks are targeting isn't is like a consensus for the world pretty much of what's good, right? It kind of kills the deflation problem in a sense, right? The best outcome you want isn't deflationary prices. It's also not inflationary prices, it's stable prices for things. It's just that it's so hard to accomplish. And that's kind of why we also have this 2%, or we had this 2% inflation goal. And so I'm thinking, but the problem with central banks through the entire history has always been the fact that they've never, been able to keep it. And sooner or later there's always been much higher inflation rate in like the real terms of inflation, where they will inflate the currency by printing it, right, one way or another. And so then you'll get way higher CPI prints like we had recently, the 9% in on the US dollar. It's been way higher in all around the world. So my question is, isn't it better to actually have a coded 3% inflation model instead of having like 0% inflation? And perhaps maybe even one more. What about like ease inflation model, where it can be deflationary if needed and inflationary if needed?
Max, you want to take this one?
Yeah, I think that a small inflation rate can be healthy because it ultimately will encourage people to invest, right? Like you don't want people just hoarding dollars or something. You want them deploying that capital out of necessity, right?
Yeah.
It's not a fair system where you're forced to invest, but it's also one that, if utilized, can be very beneficial. So I think in some regards it can be a good thing. I do believe like a hard programmed inflation rate could be good. I generally think that it could be good, right? Because what we have right now is like a very subjective, highly discretionary inflation rate that a boardroom of individuals more or less will determine, you know?
Yeah.
They weigh the pros and cons and determine what they want the inflation rate to be. And they don't always have full control over it. Like they've been targeting 2% for a while, but it's clear that they've kind of lost the ability to really bring inflation back down because of their behavior a few years back when they doubled the M2 money supply in a year and we had headline of over 9%. So sometimes damage can't always be undone. So I think if there was something in place that was basically like your annualized inflation rate is 2 or 3%, no matter what the economic conditions surrounding it are, I think it would be fine. It would stimulate and force people to invest. It would also be, I don't think we would see as like manic price action in markets because it would be so like forecastable. It would be so predictable that you wouldn't see some crazy bubble form because of, stimulus where they drop interest rates to zero and double the amount of money, right? You'd have much more stable, slow growth, which wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. So I don't know, I guess kind of just talking like out loud about it. I don't really know the answer, but that's how I view it.
No, I like it because it's really like thoughts out loud. I think they are sound and logical. And if we are thinking about this way, there is a good chance that other people are. And in that sense, like Doge obviously is a meme coin, but as you said, it also is proof of work still. It has its own chain. It's been around longer than ETH, and it has that coded 3% inflation rate. So in a sense, it's like like a normie mind, the left curve will look at it and see like, yeah, it's a meme coin, buy it. Mid curve will be like, it's a meme coin, don't buy it. And then the right curve will be like, it's a meme coin, plus it has all this, coded utility in it.
Yeah.
So buy it. I could see that. I'm still wondering, like, if that's actually, better thing, because deflation can be a problem for people too, right? Because if you would have zero inflation, and you get the efficiency growth in the economy, then that means that the prices of things would be going down, which would by nature make people hoard money and not buy stuff, because they would be like, why would I buy this if I could buy it next year much cheaper? And that's a problem, right? So instead, you kind of want to have stable prices in the economy, which causes people to buy, right? It's not that like too much inflation causes people to just move their money or currency, whatever you call it, immediately away. Deflation causes them to hoard money. Stable prices cause them to behave normally, which is the goal, but it's not always achievable, and definitely not, as you said, with that group of people that decide what the inflation rate is going to be. And so what they did in the past 10 years, right, they put interest rates so low, they made governments borrow so cheap, and actually made these conditions that just happened. And so having a 3% coded inflation, which you cannot do more, is not a better idea. And
I'd rather hold Doge than the dollar, over a multi-year period of time. It's way more fundamentally sound, man. It's
it's going to have less inflation than dollar. So by basic terms, it should be appreciating more than the dollar. Obviously, the question is if the demand will be there for Doge, or people will choose to save up in something else. That's the question, right? Because just because something is limited in supply doesn't necessarily mean it's going to get bid by people. But but by nature, it's going to have less supply than the dollar. Maybe I'm still wondering if the ETH model isn't the best, perhaps, because it can be deflationary and inflationary at at need, and so that's kind of the perfect market, in my opinion. But the market will decide, right? And we will observe price action and see what the market is choosing as a winner. And I like that. That's free market for you.
Yeah, I would say a hybrid is probably the best because, obviously economic conditions are going to change pretty wildly. I also would say, just generally speaking, a little bit of currency inflation is better than a deflationary alternative, because that, at least like historically speaking, deflationary periods are often much more destructive than inflationary ones. I mean, you could obviously pinpoint Weimar as the inflationary, like, worst case scenario. Everybody likes to say that America is going to end up the same way. I think that's kind of a ridiculous statement, but deflationary periods take much longer to recover from. Just look at the Great Depression, for example. It took the US like 30 years before stocks started to make all-time highs again.
Yeah, there is nothing more that central bankers fear more than deflation, because they care about unemployment, and deflation is pretty bad for unemployment, because, as we said, right, if prices are going down, then you're going to wait with buying anything, because if you know it's going to be cheaper next year, you will not be buying anything. So it slows down economy. If it slows down economy, that causes companies to fire people, and that raises unemployment, and it's a vicious spiral. So definitely, yeah. Definitely.
I mean, look at this, guys. So I put this is a little example here. Doge up top in gold, and then ETH in blue, Bitcoin in orange, Nvidia in green. And this starts from the day that ETH started trading, okay? Because ETH is the youngest of these assets, okay? So if you had bought Doge the day that, just as soon as ETH started trading, the youngest asset, look at the performance of Doge versus ETH, Bitcoin, Nvidia, right? Like, it trades really spastically, but it has been the best performing asset of the past decade. Just saying, throw anything up there. It's kicked its butt.
True.
Timing is everything.
Timing or patience is everything. Maybe both.
Can you remain sitting on your hands longer than the market can make you mentally ill?
This cycle has been a great lesson in that.
Yeah, the cycle has been one that demands patience, without question. I think Doge is getting ready, man. I posted something this morning about this chart specifically. So I know we've covered this on the show before, but looking at like IWM, so US small caps, when this chart goes into price discovery is typically when you see like crypto beta really start to rip. I put out a tweet about this morning, so maybe you guys already saw it. But here's US small caps, and then let's put up Doge down below. You can see what typically happens. Like, look what happened to Doge last cycle when US small caps caught a big bid. Doge down below, Russell up top. That's pretty interesting, right? That's pretty interesting. And I would almost argue that like these structures even look similar. Like this thing on Doge, it's like a much more prolonged version of this, right? So I just wonder, maybe the cycle isn't that different. It's just going to take a little bit longer. There's certainly some similarities.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's really hard to deny the demand for small caps. And I do feel as though Doge is just kind of that natural next rotation in the ETF trade. I know like Solana is beginning to, really start to try and get some traction with like DATs, with ETFs. But I think that there will probably be more demand for Doge, ironically, just because if people are moving all the way down the risk curve for crypto, it's kind of easy to stomach like, okay, yeah, I'll buy Dogecoin. rather than the next iteration of ETH or the next coin that maybe I don't understand, but I can understand dog money, guys. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. And yeah, no, I just think like the setup for memes here into Q4 is really, really strong. And I think that's not just Doge, but that's also the Pepe chart, which looks increasingly to me like Shiba Inu in the second half of 2021. I do think that is not going to be much longer before we start to see Pepe finally move.
What about the like button, though?
That's true. Also, I think as well is a pretty good signal of the meme coin strength and probably where we're headed. It's the #1 meme coin on the market leader right now. So, you know, I don't think we're gonna have to wait too much longer before is breaking out.
Looks very good.
Everybody wanted it to move right away. They got shaken out. It is what it is.
They did. The market loves to do that.
Yes, it does. I mean,
the market is a medium to transfer the wealth from impatient to patient. It's always been that way.
4-month consolidation, the entire summer.
Let's see what it looks like. Getting ready for something. Don't hate that. Trades like an absolute meat grinder. But it looks good.
Yeah, we might need to pull up soybeans, Max.
You think so? Is it that bad?
It is.
How bad? 1 through 10? 10 being the worst.
It's at an 8 or 9.
Tommy, really?
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna make me do it.
Sorry, guys.
Oh, old drawings kind of working out. Not bad.
What chart is that?
This is the soybean cash contract, 12-hour time frame provided by Pepperstone.
Thank you, Pepperstone. Yeah, unofficial sponsor of Market Check.
Seems like we haven't been on the soybean chart for a while, though.
Yeah, looks like we are tracking some move over here. It's interesting. I don't know when I drew this at all, but
yeah,
like
definitely. Definitely, the market volatility has lots to do with it. The market's been boring, insanely boring. The past, 2 weeks for Ether. When you look at alts, most of them have been ranging since May. So I think that tells a story. And there isn't a more dopamine addicted market than this one. So if something is ranging since May, that's too much in such a market.
But guys, can you run up the likes, please? We don't ask much. We really don't.
Spare some likes.
Spare some likes, please. I don't want to look at this chart anymore. I don't want to.
What would you want to look at, Max?
Let's just go down the list of assets and look at the cycle top in on everything.
Okay, I like that. Finally, a real speech.
Well, we got over 100 likes. That's good, I guess. I guess.
That's crap times. Has Nvidia just swept all-time highs and it's the cycle top? We could look at it.
On Nvidia here, actually. I mean, I think there are better ROI bets.
Nasdaq.
Yeah,
Nasdaq. Not Nvidia, Nasdaq. Or what did you say to me?
No, I'm bullish on Nvidia. I think there are going to be better bets from like an ROI standpoint, but I think it'll be above $200 probably pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited for all the apologies I'm going to get when I'm right about Andy. It's going to be a fun day.
You will get none, Max.
They'll still just make fun of me.
Yeah.
Dude, I woke up this morning to a couple freaks attacking me just out of nowhere. I was like, good morning, Max. They were like, he was bullish on Caspa at 20 cents. I'm like, I full stack jeeted for a 2x publicly, but you don't want to talk about that. Yep. Max, all you need is integrity. That's a good one. Get you some integrity. Integrity Farms. No. Just to be clear, I definitely want some profits. After all that I've been through, I definitely you got to let them eat a little bit, you know. Let them eat.
What if this cycle never ends? What if this is a permaloop? And you're stuck in it.
Look at this comment, man. How can you even? You don't actually watch the video. Go watch the video I made on Monday. If you really think that, go watch that video. I don't know how you can say that. You can't say I like BB and then say that because you clearly didn't watch the video. I dropped the video for you. You slander the good name.
Meme coins look crazy to me, man. I don't
think
know how.
What you meant to say was cycle top is in.
I guess I just don't understand being like bearish on charts because they haven't moved when Doge is getting ready clearly for a high time frame breakout. Pepe's curling up. Per is curling up. The most cucked meme coin is curling up. That should be should be noted.
I mean, we're getting ready, man. It's the wise words of Bruce Buffer, man. It's time. You know, it's time. Or we're cooked.
True. The cycle tops in.
Yeah.
How could I forget?
Friends don't let other friends forget that the cycle top is in. All right, well, let's look at Doge, I guess. I mean, that doesn't look bearish to me. Looks like it's getting ready to launch.
Launch ETF. Launch price. Do you guys know what's crazy? We nowadays have more ETFs than we have stocks.
I saw that yesterday. I feel like everybody's already in the process of compiling their top signals threads.
Well, I wouldn't like say it's bearish or bullish. I'm just like saying it's the fact. I only think it kind of. One thing it shows to me is that people are just lazy and they want someone to manage it for them, you know?
That's true.
That's, in my opinion, the only thing it implies.
People don't want to buy the underlying.
Yeah.
Can't trust themselves. I could see Doge maybe revisiting like 22 cents, but it's had some pretty abnormal strength all week, so it feels increasingly unlikely that it's going to do that to me.
I would agree with you there. It's looking,
but it could pull back here.
Pretty bullish to me.
Yeah, that looks very decent.
Really think that's the most important chart in crypto, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I mean, it's like what Doge means for the entire space, man. It's Doge is the Bitcoin of beta, you know? It's like nothing else will really truly pump without Doge ripping. When Doge rips, that's when we have a lot of fun. So, oh, how's the Tommy versus Max bet doing? I forgot we even let me check on that. Thanks for bringing it up. I think he's got me right now, but we still have time. We still have time. Let's head over to ETH BTC and check it out. It's getting a little close for comfort, guys. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm gonna need a Hail Mary into the end of the month. Absolute Hail Mary. It's possible, but
3 weeks is a long time.
I mean, I basically need a 56% move on ETH in 3 weeks. We have seen crazier things happen before.
Imagine a 1 minute spike above there.
It's a great steakhouse. You're gonna love it.
Let's look at this. 3 weeks. See, not even this move. I think I'm cooked, man. It's a little too much to.
Max, just scroll through ETH BTC charts on illiquid exchanges, and you might have already won.
Huh? Here's the thing, though. It's possible. It's possible we could get something like this.
So
right?
You are telling me there is a chance.
There is a chance.
Yeah.
This happened in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So last cycle, we had a 90% move in 3 weeks. So you're saying there's a chance. It's not super likely, but it's not completely over yet. I mean, we are going to need
to top is max, so it is over.
That's true. We are going to absolutely need to find some legs here. You know, this is that's a big move. You know, that's a big move. Let's put it this way. If I win this bet somehow, I'm probably just going to buy a steakhouse because that's how much money I'd make from the ETH play. But yeah, it's looking good, man. It's looking good for Tommy. I think I meant to say October instead of September, so we'll just push it back 1 month. Tommy's cool with it. It's fine.
Unfortunately, Max, I'm unable to find an exchange in which it has wicked so far.
Well, work harder then, Jackus. I need this.
ETH Bitcoin wicked the number on Lighter Exchange, so
I think I'll have to go on DEX ETH BTC charts then.
I just need someone to fat finger a chart for me real quick. Oh man,
like
we tried,
BTC
you know,
on Pancake Swap.
We tried. You know what's gonna suck is that probably by like the second week of October, it's gonna be in the money, and I will have missed it. And that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is a premier lesson to be learned about how options work. You could be right on the direction, but wrong on the timing, and you will have your contracts expire at 0. That is exactly how options work. I could be right about 0.06, but I might be off by a couple weeks. Doesn't matter. I'm cooked.
It's completely over.
Dude, look at ETH rejecting. We will never pump again. Look at that. Look at this chart. It's over.
That's why I said don't get excited just yet.
Do you see this? I mean, this is going to go lower than we previously thought it was even possible.
That 1 minute chart. Oh my god, it feels like one entire cycle on its own.
Yes.
Get a bounce to liquidate the late shorts here.
Oh, you'll learn one day, Tommy. It's over.
And before everybody gets super bared up again tomorrow.
I mean, we probably just chill out until after FOMC, right? There's not really a good reason to just like rip into it. That would almost be bad, I would think.
I kind of think we're going to rip into it.
I just read this. Sure, like people aren't full-time traders, right? But like if you hold Bitcoin ETF instead of buying on your own and are paying fees, I suppose like anyone, even if you have a full-time job, you probably find like an hour in a month where you can do that and move your Bitcoin into a wallet, into a hardware wallet, or even if you want to hold on an exchange, right? So like that was the discussion surrounding ETFs. So it's not about like full-time trading, but more about like people do not want to hold in their own wallet, and they would rather have a custodian to do that for them for a fee.
For a fee, of course.
And to be fair, I actually think most people are probably better off not custodying their own crypto, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, but I still don't understand, right? Like if you want a custodian, then you can still buy it and hold it on an exchange. You still have a custodian, but you're not paying fees for holding it on spot. But I suppose if the fee is low, right, and you have like, well, the reason why people do it is because they want to have all of their Bitcoin, or sorry, all of their equity on one brokerage account. They don't want to have multiple of them, and so lots of brokerage accounts, the people come from stocks, and they don't have a option to buy spot Bitcoin. They don't want to deal with it, and so they'll buy BMNR, for example, instead. Rather,
BMNR. How is Tom Lee?
not BMNR. I was gonna say IBIT, but in regards to BTC,
Do you think BMNR is a buy here, Jackus?
I do think so. I think it was a buy already.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting already pumped vibes from BMNR, but I'm sure there is still some upside there.
What do you mean still some upside? There is lots of upside if ETH continues to appreciate.
Yeah, I mean, what's the market cap of it right now?
Of BMNR?
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but I do tend to think that it's going to fit the role of strategy.
Dude, look at this chart. What am I looking at right now? Why does it look this way?
Crime.
Holy crap. Tell me they like split this thing a bajillion times at least.
That's the perfect description of keep faking it until you make it.
Like what am I looking at right now? So let me get this straight. This thing was at $4 in June, and it squeezed from $4 to 160 in like a matter of a week. Excuse me?
You wouldn't get it.
Dude, this thing squeezed 3,600% in 7 days. Someone retired off of some calls on this thing. Somebody knew. I want to see the chain. Somebody bought some like, $40 out of the monies that expire 30 days later and literally printed like 50 million bucks. There's no way that they didn't. There was crime committed.
That'll be a fun conversation with the SEC.
Mm-hmm. That's wild, man. I don't even know what to think about this chart. It just, I mean, it was like it was dead. It still looks dead, arguably, but it's probably going to pump because crime.
Well, history on this chart doesn't matter. This chart, you can treat it as a new chart basically since July.
I mean, if that's the case, then maybe we just draw something like this and say, okay, we're about to break out.
Yeah.
Let's put up ETH down below. Well, would you look at that? Pumped before ETH.
Well, there was the announcement.
I don't know what to think, man. I don't know what to think. It's just crime, you know. So Bitcoin looking awkward.
Could just keep doing the pattern that it's been doing, just chopping up. We do have CPI tomorrow, so we could see some de-risking into that.
I mean, this has been a horrible, horrible pattern here. I guess I just don't want to see it like tuck back under here, and it kind of looks like a little PO3, you know. But I don't know. You could just keep doing the same, like, you know, nuke, hold the low, nuke, hold the low, nuke, hold the, you know, it could do like this and then go high. I don't know. It's hard to get a good read on the low time frames here. This is just a meat grinder.
That's how Bitcoin trades now, like complete.
I don't like that there's been zero follow through on this lower time frame move above the highs. It's usually never a good sign. But yeah, lower time frame. Crab is winning. Don't give in. Don't become the guy that's fighting and Crab is saying that you are cute.
What if I am?
You're cute. You definitely are.
I think so. This is wild, by the way. We should look at the Oracle chart. They basically, the revenue numbers were kind of hysterical. Definitely not anything like LARPy about the numbers they put out.
Jesus.
Being sarcastic, of course, but doesn't matter. I think the market's reaction to stuff like that is still a lot more important than the actual data itself, and that's true for CPI. That's true for job prints.
What am I looking at right now?
I'm actually mad because I was gonna buy their stock in March, and yeah, I didn't pull the trigger. So,
dude, what am I looking at right now? This is what our crypto charts need to look like. We're holding the wrong stuff.
We are.
When is Pepe gonna do this? You know,
meat stick.
Yeah. I mean, that's crime, man. That is. What the fuck?
And look at the earnings. It literally pumped on the earnings being red, by the way. Although
they just said their revenue is projected to be like so much higher than what they've had. The
Yeah.
algos loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, good for them, I guess.
Really doesn't matter why it goes up, just that it does, right?
I guess. Just another perfect example of I'm holding the wrong assets right here. Grandpa's having a great day. Me, Bitcoin PO3, one more sweep of the low. Kill me, man. Just, I bought
You know how
Bitcoin
crypto
for the
works.
volatility and the pumps, and my market was hijacked by scalpers and bankers. Bunch of Forex boys.
And now you're
Fun.
sitting on the lowest volatility ever historically documented on Bitcoin.
Yep.
Not for long.
But
Tommy, we will never pump again. Okay. Cycle top is in. Volatility only to the downside.
Bitcoin volatility does like keep catching a bit here.
Should we look at my BVol script?
yeah.
It's probably about to rip. Break out.
These are all the times that BVol, that it's highlighted in blue here. It highlights it in blue whenever Bitcoin volatility has been below 3.5. So whenever Bitcoin volatility has been below 3.5, we've been here, we've been here, we've been here, here, I guess here, we've been here, we've been here, and we've been here.
Save me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You are my only hope. You know.
So,
You know.
yeah, man, this is wild.
Well, how do you guys like the ETH price action?
Like it needs to take a little sweep.
Which way? Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like we're going to sweep this morning's highs and then go for like 4,100. I am not really expecting us to go
But-
that much deeper than that.
Manish came for the hope, not for one more sweep. Just saying.
I always love that tweet I have. I retweet it every time it's relevant, but it's like, oh, you like altcoins? Here's another traumatizing event instead.
That's my rapper name, Little Sweep.
I will say this, though, looking at BVol or Bitcoin volatility, we've never seen Bitcoin volatility compress like this when you're at a cycle top. You get the opposite. Like, see this? You know, you get the opposite kind of reads when you're at the top.
But there is definitely some reason for cycle top, like bears keep telling me. It's a cycle
Yeah,
top.
actually, what I meant to say was cycle top is in. I misspoke.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that, guys.
Somehow this chart's a cycle top.
Yeah, let me just show you quick. So Elliott wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then that's top. Do you see how I did that? Do you need
No,
me
I
to
need
do it
more.
again?
I need
I
more
know it's complicated to
explanation.
understand. Do you follow, or I can slow it down if you want? But that was the Elliott wave structure.
Your mind cannot comprehend the complexity of Elliott waves.
It cannot. It cannot.
How about this this compression that we're seeing on Sol? Pretty wild.
Well, Sol is either going to give you the biggest rug pull ever or lead us to Valhalla. Because it's an incredibly vulnerable structure, but it looks really good right now. I was looking at this one this morning where you're just doing this walk up like a parabola. And as long as you don't, that blue box goes back to this high last cycle. As long as you don't accept back under like 210, 208, I mean, this looks really ready to go. But if they don't stick the landing on this parabola and it comes down into here, sorry, it's going to be a huge wash up. I don't really think that's going to happen, though. I kind of think they're going to stick the landing here.
I do too. Yeah, I do too. I wasn't sure about the structure a few days ago, but I think the longer it sits up here, the more bullish it's ultimately going to be. You could definitely get some sweeps of like, you know, kind of these more complacent lows, but I think the direction is higher, which is bullish for the rest of the market. Bullish for the rest of the market. Meme coins. I mean, all of the context to me is pointing towards meme coins not being far away from some pretty massive rips.
I think MSTR is going to do this, guys.
One last high.
Unironically, yes.
One last sweep of the highs.
Yeah. You think I'm kidding? I
No,
literally
I know you're not.
I literally think MicroStrategy is going to like run towards the high and then that's it. But the good news is Pepe is going to 10x, so it doesn't really matter for me.
I almost don't even know if I'm that bullish on MicroStrategy, Max, but
What do you think of this comment?
it's over.
All right. You know what? We're actually going to do that. Tommy, take us out. It's over. I'm going to get lunch. I'm tired.
That sounds like a good idea. This brunch place that I've been meaning to eat at, I think, is open on Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. So that would be today. That is probably what I'm about to go do. We hope you guys enjoyed today's episode of Market Check, though. We will be back for another episode tomorrow to break down a CPI print. We'll see what it does for the markets. One more sweep of the highs, one more sweep of the lows. We'll let you decide. But Market Check is live, like I said, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, or what am I saying? Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, with a typical start time around 11:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you enjoyed the show, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. We're always very appreciative when you guys do that. Of course, also make sure to tune in for Market Talk, hosted by the legendary King Wabi. That is our afternoon spaces on X. So make sure to stay following and subscribe to both King Wabi's account as well as the Because Bitcoin account on that platform. So you can be notified not just when we schedule those spaces, but of course, also when we go live. Additionally, you know, if you are optimistic for Q4, if you're bullish for Q4, even if you're not, right, and you're trying to gain an edge in either on-chain markets, maybe it's leverage trading. We have just launched some killer new products for you to be able to do that, right? So check out our brand new Volume Fusion Pro Discord if you're looking for live signals on the market on things like Doge, Solana, Pepe, I mean, we've talked about those assets a lot today. I would say it's a pretty good time to to probably begin prospecting their directionality, maybe even trading them. All you have to do is sign up using our Blowfin referral link, do some trading. Maybe you even get some access to some other signals as well. But as I say, I don't want to give away too much of what we're doing behind the scenes. Of course, as well, make sure to tune in. What am I saying? Make sure to check out the BB Terminal's new DGen page if you're looking for an edge on chain. We've continued to flesh out the functionality, and it is, objectively speaking, a much better or has so much more functionality than Dex Screener can provide you. So if you are looking for, like I said, something that could potentially give you an edge on chain, whether it's ETH, Solana, who knows, maybe you even trade SUI NFTs. I do know some people who do that. Check out the DGen page on the BB Terminal, guys. Going to play a quick commercial for the BB Terminal as we head out, but thank you guys again for tuning in. We're going to have a great rest of the week, a great rest of the quarter, and of course, a great rest of the year. But thanks again, as always. And of course, stay safe.
Tired of outdated trading tools, confused charts, dozens of tabs, endless stress? You're not alone. Introducing BB Terminal, your all-in-one command center for crypto trading. Track your portfolio, monitor the markets, stay ahead, all in one place. From chaos to clarity, from struggle to success. BB Terminal,